Folks, explosive testimony delivered today in the Sean Diddy Combs federal trial as his former assistant, referred to as Mia, characterized her work environment as chaotic and toxic, and she talked about repeated sexual assault. It was unbelievable. Legal analyst Candace Kelly joins us now. Candace, what the hell happened today?
Listen, this is Mia, victim number 4. This is someone who we heard about in opening arguments. As you said, she's someone who worked for Sean Diddy Combs as his personal assistant for several years right off the bat. She talked about staying awake for long hours, 5 days at a time, using Adderall in order to do that, saying that that was really the expectation, that she stay awake at all times. And she also said that Combs sexually assaulted her on several occasions. And she saw Sean attack Cassie Ventura on multiple occasions, even splitting her head open. Now, this is a story that we've heard before from Cassie, as well as yesterday's witness, Deontay Nash. And she says that most of these attacks did, in fact, happen in front of the full view and presence of Combs' staff and security. Now, this is a witness. We don't know her name. As she sat on the stand, she was crouched over, head down. The only people that could see her name were the members of the jury. She spoke in soft tones. She cried quite a bit. She was just very soft-spoken and did not want any of herself, her body, to be seen. It looked like this whole thing was just a traumatic experience, and you could hear that in every step of her voice. Now, she wept as she testified about Sean Combs sexually assaulting her on multiple occasions. As I mentioned, she said that she was required to sleep in his house. That was a part of his job. And that once he tried to force her to perform oral sex on her in an attack, said he came out of his closet with his penis out, and that she was expected to perform, and that's what happened. Another time, she said that she was down on the bottom of a bunk bed, and that when she was awakened, Combs was on top of her. Another time, he just put his hand up her dress, all unexpected, out in the open at his 40th birthday party. She also described on one time when she tried to get away that he slammed her arm in a door over and over again. She says she felt desperate and trapped, and she thought that it was all of her fault. Now, I want to talk about Prince's bodyguards. Prince was mentioned today because there was one particular time in 2010 when both of them, this would be Cassie and Mia, were invited to a party. And when they went to this party, they had to sneak out to do it. Well, somehow Sean Combs found out about it. And when he came to the party, she said that they recognized his hat coming across the room, came and got Cassie. They tried to run away. Sean Combs allegedly caught Cassie, started beating on her, but Prince's bodyguards saved her. Now, this is really unusual because we haven't heard of any bodyguards in any of the situations described from any of the witnesses.
When you say Prince's bodyguard, you mean Prince the artist?
I do. I mean Prince the artist.
Got it.
Yes, indeed. And so this was a time where somebody, she said, finally saved them because the security guards, bodyguards were always around. But his bodyguard said, no, that's actually not going to happen here. She also talked about cleaning rooms after what she calls really nasty freak-offs, candle wax, broken glass, water on the floor, blood, oil. I mean, she really got to the details of all of this. Now, this is one thing that I think is very important that I'm about to say, and this has to do with the LA Police Department. If you recall, yesterday we heard from the police, and it was insinuated that the police perhaps got rid of DNA fingerprints from Kid Cudi's car and that firebombing on purpose. And this is when the defense attorneys tried to declare a mistrial. They said you cannot lead the jury to think that it was Sean Combs that had anything to do with getting rid of those fingerprints. But now today, Mia testified that on many, many occasions, that any time she was stopped by the police, whether she was speeding or something else, all she would do is drop Sean Combs' name, or sometimes Sean would be in the car and the police officers would say, get along. And this is really getting in the prosecution's point, I think, perhaps, that maybe there was some way that Sean Combs was working with the police in order to get him off on certain things, the least of it perhaps being a ticket. So the prosecution was able to get in that particular testimony. She was on all day tomorrow. Mia will be back out all day today. She will be back tomorrow in Cross. They're going to end the week with her. And another note, and this just has to do with the timeline, Judge Subramanian said that he wants deliberations to begin by July 4th.
Now, Mia is a pseudonym, and you've got a lot of folks already on social media declaring who this person was, and so that's not her real name.
Correct. Mia is a pseudonym. She's also someone else who filed a lawsuit in the name of Jane Doe, so they allowed her to get on the stand without saying her name. She did have to show her face, a white woman. But in terms of any of their characteristics and anything else, the judge really wanted everybody to be very cooperative to make sure that anything that could identify her would not be released to the public.
And as you laid out, I mean, she just describes it as a vicious, constant assault. I mean, so she detailed a harrowing experience working with and under Sean Combs.
Yeah, she did. And one of the things that we see is, and this is from people who've been involved in relationships with him or not, just, to personal assistance that we've heard, while they've seen the abuse, while they've suffered from the abuse, and all of it not sexual, a lot of it, some of it physical or just name calling, they all stayed or felt compelled in some way to come back. And I think that that's something that the jury will grapple with. But what we get is this theme of force and power and fear by so many of them, even fear today, as she sat, knowing that he's going back behind bars. She was just physically unable to kind of pull herself out of what seemed to be a post-traumatic stress disorder type of a situation and just sharing this information. But these people, they did come back saying that, listen, this was Sean Combs. In the industry, in this type of industry, everybody knows each other. So they were all afraid that they couldn't get a job if he told on them and said, listen, you don't want her, because that's how powerful he was. He could stop you from getting another job. So the threat is that I just felt compelled to stay there. Plus, I was scared. And I also was sometimes scared that I would die, as we heard from Capricorn Clark this week.
All right, then. We certainly appreciate it, Candace. Thanks a lot.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.